I come on here mainly to give. I come on here really to give I like to bring awareness more than I do to teach anything. And like I don't want to ever really say that I'm even teaching anything, because it's like at this point I don't even have a whole curriculum or anything like that to say that I'm a teacher at all. But I can say that I like to bring awareness and shed light on subjects, just to bring them to the surface, because maybe people don't see it the way I see it. And that's I see more people trying to understand someone else's perspective more or less than giving their own perspective about their perspective. They give their perspective most of the time on other people's perspectives. They don't have their own to deal with their own, to decipher their own while they're whatever. And so I want to give what I see experiences, and not just watch a movie or something and then go, hey, this is what this dude was thinking, this chick was thinking. And my phone died, so I gotta wait to see about getting that charged. But I wanted to come up in here and make this anyway before I even charged it, which kind of sucks because now I can't really remember what I was gonna. But it was along the lines of dealing with. So we have this thing where we don't work on our shadows enough. And so just like most things in this world where you have it kind of capped off, at some point that it's going to want to pop. It's going to release. It's going to want to find a way out, eventually. There's only so many things on this, in this realm that, can be trapped and stay trapped. Most things, since it's made of air, water, liquid, gas, all the same things, it's gonna at some point want to squeak out of something, right? Especially if you got big cracks, within your, psyche, trauma, things like that. Things are gonna want to bleed out, squeak out, things like that. If not treated properly. So if you don't, put the wrench to the fire hydrant or whatever, release some pressure every now and then. Do what you got to do to let off some steam in healthy ways. Find out what health means to you. But if you don't take the time to even process that, to go down that path, to be able to say, oh, this is what I need to do different, that cap will blow, unfortunately. And people will try to, I'm literally trying to get us all from the, people will try to because I noticed this thing, right, was this fight, this war on drugs. And it's not a war on stimulant. It's not a war on just habits. It's not a war on habits. It's a war on drugs. And the problem that I have with that, with most things, is when people say, now, we can definitely most certainly give grace to people in certain scenarios, not always call them stupid and this, that, and whatever. But most of the time, this war on drugs are, what we truly classify as in a medical sense what drugs are. Sometimes we don't include pills and things like that when we want to refer to drug addictions or alcohol. That's the society. Some people, especially because alcohol is legal, we don't want to deem it addiction in conversations, but in a medical sense it is. And so they don't deem things like coffee or food, or they kind of the gambling and things like that are not really being looked into or cracked down on. If anything, it brings too much money for it to not. I mean, drugs do too, but I mean, at least it can be more commercialized. I mean, kind of now it's being more commercialized because, which a lot of people like back in the day didn't really want to fight for legalization, more decriminalization, because you know it doesn't need to be legal, because if it's legal, that means the government can mess with it. You know, things like that. But people aren't really like checking in and cracking down on other things that keep you distracted. And so we have this lopsidedness when it comes to drugs and things like that, and what it is to be addicted to something, because a habit is a habit and you can be addicted to any habit. And like I said, the issue that I have with society is that we don't look at it as a whole. Like I said, you can give grace to people, but look at it as a whole as we are making these habits happen, and we continue to chemically let them happen, because that means that we have no control. So either we admit that we have no control over our life and how we choose to do things and give people real grace, or take on the fact that we have control of damn near everything we do when it comes to alchemy and changing your mind and choosing what to do and not to do for yourself and others. That is real. That would be more of a question into the real fight, I would think, because saying that war on drugs is a thing, but not outcasting or banning, like I said, things like coffee or gambling or alcohol, or harder drugs and things like this, or just habits in general that people inevitably get hooked on. I mean, my issue is where does it really end if a person can be addicted to eating couch, stuffings, couch leather and shit like that? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, where does it really end when you're fighting for something? Because the whole point, which I would think, right, the issue that I'm having is that I would think these people are fighting to, put something in place to be able to help people. And I don't see that. I don't see that really. That people are putting things in place to really help people. They're putting things in place to jail people, to harm people, to make life worse and harder on people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I look at this life the way that people put people through the grinder, politicians and people like that, higher ups put people through the grinder like hell. Really, I mean, the way that I'm seeing it is that the process is only your demise. There's no other way out of that. Everything you're going through is, for your own downfall, because they're not really putting people in place to help see you through things. Only to make your life harder and worse. That's it. Only to keep you down to where you have to go do something for them, to work their 9 to 5 or whatever like that, and not keep you on game. So you don't need a 9 to 5. That whole concept of a 9 to 5 immediately gets tossed out of your head, because you know that it's just an illusion for somebody to, like, it's just weird mental jargon. It's jargon just to say, hey, you work for me. A 9 to 5, hey, you're my lackey, type weirdo stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is why people like, we do. Anything when it comes to anything entrepreneurial. Like, I want to be the person, if anything, to tell you to go do something. Like, it don't make no sense if that's not the goal for everybody. So why isn't that? Clearly, what I'm saying is these people are not making that happen within a system. There's no system to call you boss, or put a mental in your mind to boss you up to leader, then to a new status that's even crazier than, wilder, grander than leader, because that's, so, there's more avenues that we can take to stop just being, okay, we bosses. Cool. You just gonna stay a boss because everybody was just staying there being a pimp too? Are you gonna be a leader? Okay, everybody. Okay, but what can we do to? But we're only staying at people just try to boss people around. Not elevating people to, oh, I used to be this thing, so now I can up you to be this thing type deal, and branch you out to something else instead of just this one field and subject. Because everybody just wants to be a boss. Nobody wants to lead anything. Nobody wants to speak on certain things, to put your mind in a certain space where you can feel different thoughts and feelings, and have all different thoughts and things going in your life, to where other people in your family can have different thoughts and feelings, to where you're not just, so oh, this music, played in repetition is not cool. I shouldn't be blasting this stuff with my kids in the car, even though it seems harmless. You know, maybe I can cook one time. Maybe I could, you know, drink a smoothie or some juice or something instead of, you know, maybe teach my family about something. You know, teach them how to cook while I'm cooking instead of just cooking for them all the time. You know, telling them, you know, I'll do it. I can do this. When you ask for help and then you push the help to the side just to do it for yourself. You're not being a boss or leader at this point. You're just being a tyrant. You're just being mean. And that's terrible. So look into that. I mean, you teaching your family something. It's not always about, oh, my emotional whatever, this, that, and the third. You know, that's what leads people, for me, into you know, the drugs and things like that, or other escapisms. You know, escapist habits that aren't being mitigated, that aren't being watched. You know, okay, you want to have some sips and you want to smoke something, but make sure you go do something. Go sweat it out. Go clean yourself. Go put good nutrients back in your body. Go find something to do, you know, to not just stay stagnant and not work something, right? But staying along the lines of, like I said, we're not looking at habits as a whole, because nobody's looking at the fact that you can mask a lot of your symptoms and traumas and things like that with something as simple and as easy as coffee, and you're not regulating yourself. Because how much money did you spend on that week? You know what I mean? You still want this thing. It may seem harmless, but you still ain't got money at the end of the week, at the end of the month. That's way more of what I'm saying too. So it's like, okay, you ain't not, you know, because you'll put somebody down for something, one of their habits or their addictions or their things, something they got going on in their life. Here you are still drinking your juice, you know, your favorite Starbucks juice or whatever like that. And you buy one every day and it's $9-8 because you need the extra fritz and spritz and all this glitz, you know, things like that. It's like, we gotta really like calm ourselves down on who, because it's like, okay, well, what are you, you know, buying these drinks to be able to, you know, I don't know, something, but are you doing it to build, you know, are you taking the cups and making something because you're an artist, you know, and you take all the cups, or you're an activist to show people, look, I take all these cups and this is what I do with the drinks after, something like that. That makes sense. You may go through addictions just to prove an addiction, right? Or, you know, some, you know, like what path are you on to show somebody a way out, essentially? You know, just something to better their lives just a little bit. Now they can sell the artwork or the new project, make some money off of this, or at least build something in people's minds, something, you know what I'm saying, to move society and everything forward. So yeah, that's something I'm noticing, is that we kind of like shy away from other things being something that takes us away from the real traumas that got us started with doing all this stuff that puts us in the habits where we can't make our life happen for ourselves. You know, what are you doing to benefit? Like, how is that thing benefiting from what you do, you know, in any way? Even if it doesn't seem like it's good, you know, for you or for someone or for your life. Like, it may not seem like that, but how can you still turn it around and make it something for somebody else, you know, or for yourself? Just not just, oh, I do this thing. Not just, I buy coffees every day. I write coffees, buy coffees and write little messages on them. So I put them on my Facebook or something to where it's not just, I'm putting money into this and not check in. Because there's so many, like I said, there's food, there's things to just keep people's minds off. And I'm trying to bring it down to, yeah, but there's people out here that can drink a fuck ton, smoke a fuck ton, snort up whatever, do whatever, you know, go, you know, read in the library for 10,000 hours. You know, that's an addiction to somebody. Whatever the case may be, but they'll benefit from it, know how to use it to make someone else's or their own lives better because of it. Whether it is taking up something to learn that addiction, to then be able to teach people. Right? There's so many avenues that people aren't taking because they're too busy blaming. You know, when some people out here making sure that they can take on all facets of life, right? All different kinds of things that they can look into. So it may seem like something on the surface, you know. But I think it's more habits, and I don't think we need to like shy away from the fact that we all have habits, no matter what it may be. It can still be a detriment to your life.